Welcome to Serenity Rising, Healing with Cancer. I'm Bron Watson, and I want to welcome you to not just a podcast, but to a community, a new way of seeing, feeling, and walking through the chaos of cancer. So welcome, Jo. It is so great to have you here.
Oh, Bron, it is. Any time I get to spend with you is delightful, but this is going to be an amazing conversation because I'm already excited about it. But this whole project of Serenity Uprising is so needed, so needed. So thank you for answering that call.
Oh, thank you. So my very first question, actually, and this will help our listeners to hear where we came from. How did we get here?
Well, I was just reflecting with you, Bron. The first time we met, I think it was 2011.
It was.
And it's now 2025.
I know.
And when I met Bron, she was nursing full-time. I think you were nursing full-time.
Part-time. I was a nurse educator part-time.
There you go. It felt like
I
a
had too many
full-time
kids
job.
to work full-time.
Yeah, that's right. You had so many children. But back then, you didn't even know what a blog was.
Nope.
So here we are recording a podcast and you've put this together. We've both been through some stuff since 2011, and I think where this got to was where one of the things that we've got in common that maybe we didn't want to have in common was that we've had a history of cancer, and we've both been treated, and yay for not having cancer anymore, but there's stuff that you have to learn to live with post-cancer treatment
100%.
that nobody really warns you of.
Exactly. And that's the thing. I mean, I'd love you to share context here around how did we get here talking about cancer of all things when we're entrepreneurs, we're business owners, and here we are talking about living through and with and post cancer.
Yeah. So it was never in a 5-year plan.
No.
For me to get diagnosed with. So I was diagnosed with bilateral breast cancer at age 47. So I was younger than 50, which is significant if you're a woman younger than 50, because most of our cancer treatment for breast cancer is still for women over the age of 50. They assume that we're already menopausal. Many of us are now, in the middle of treatment.
Thank you for treatment.
Something like that. Yeah, thanks to treatment. So you went first, so thank you for that.
Oh,
so I got to watch, and I was very big on learning from women I trusted and seeing how they went through this thing called breast cancer, and wanted to fill my life with people that were real, but were uplifting, but not toxically positive at all, because that does not help. So I was really big on what I call standing on the shoulders of the giants who went before me. So I found women in my world who were diagnosed and treated over 20 years ago who were living full lives. And I really built this community of care around me, which is, I'm going to get through this, I'm going to get through this, I'm going to get through this. And you were a big part of that.
I didn't have any idea, mind you.
No,
that I was that person. One of those people. I never would have imagined myself in that as one of them. Strong women.
Because you feel like you're falling apart, right? You know, you and I have I've been a single mom. You've had how many kids? Like
5 boys. I know 5,000. 5 boys. Feels like 5,000 sometimes.
That's right, I know. But we've learned. We've both changed careers. We've both been on international stages. We've both been really passionate health professionals. We've both been strong advocates for good quality healthcare. And yet here we find ourselves in this mess, really, in this messiness of going, well, that didn't go the way I expected it to.
No.
And I guess for me, my cancer journey gave me pause. I can say that now, to go, do I want to keep working as hard as I was?
Yeah.
My health won't let me. So the answer to that is no. And there are now new things that cancer treatment has given me that I'm navigating probably for a while to come yet. But it's also given me the opportunity to, for the first time, I think since I was about 14, go, how do I want to turn up in this world?
Wow.
Rather than just react to the next thing, react to the next thing, react to the next thing, which I didn't really think I was doing. I was wrong.
Yeah,
But
I
it's
understand.
not, yeah, it's not until you actually take yourself and you have to sit on the couch for days on end and you just cannot watch any more TV and you don't want to listen to another podcast and your brain won't let you concentrate on reading another book, where you just go, "Jeez,
Mm,
if this is the sum total of the rest of my life, I've got some decisions to make."
wow. Yeah, I get it. And I
Yeah.
want to take you back to when you were at that space of
Mm.
when you said to me about finding people and
Mhm.
support and what you
Mhm.
called standing on the shoulders of giants. Is that what you said?
Mhm. Yep.
How did you work out those people? I mean, what sort of traits, because this will lead into serenity. What
Yeah.
got you, what
Yeah.
were some, and you wouldn't have even thought about it, I guarantee, but what made you,
No.
what were the
Mm.
strengths, or how did you find those people?
Okay, so I need to give some context here. So I'm by qualification and training and 30-year career, I'm a rehabilitation counselor. So I helped people navigate the impact of a major life transition, usually a health transition, on their career and on their work. I had been working with a lot of women who were entering into this midlife part of their life, or this 40 to 50 to 60 decades. It's probably not midlife anymore. And
Of course it's not
yeah.
decade, midlife, midlife. Talking about.
It's why I just said it. It's just like, whoa, no, 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 no. Um, and I guess the work that I was doing and the way I was worked and the people that funded me, I only ever got to meet the women that were so sick and
Wow,
struggling so
okay.
much that they needed this extra intervention, right? They needed someone to help them work out, how do you return to work? What does your career look like now? How can we re-engineer your job? How can we re-engineer your family? Not saying you need to divorce your family, but I taught a lot of women how to get their kids using the friggin' dishwasher and washing machine,
Wow,
because
okay.
as mums, we often feel guilty that we're not at home, but we love our careers. So we come home and we feel guilty because the kids are there and we're like, oh, I better make life perfect for you. So we don't teach them those life skills, which made me feel awful because my son was, he was washing his own school uniform at 11.
But what a skill
Because
to, all my boys can wash now, just
Yeah, no, that's right. So yeah, so I had this kind of very warped. So all the people that I met had very major complications with their cancer journey. So I went, I
Mm.
can't use that sample as this is what's going to happen for me. I need to go find people who maybe didn't need the intervention. So then I swung the complete opposite way and thought I was going to be the woman who ran a marathon during chemo. I could barely walk around my lounge room during chemo.
Wow, okay.
Um, there were some days when walking to the toilet was too hard.
Yeah. Oh,
Uh,
I'm hearing you.
yeah, I know, and that's the reality. So some women can, some people can. I wasn't
I
one of them.
wasn't, no,
So
me either. I wasn't one either.
I once I started sharing with people what I was going through and what it was like for me, people started to come out of the woodwork, and women I never expected. So there's a woman in Melbourne. Her name is Maureen. I know that she told me she had a breast cancer journey, but of course I parked it. It wasn't relevant at the time.
Mm,
I think she's probably in her 50s, maybe her 60s, but she's got this great career. She advocates for toxic workplaces to change. She teaches people how to resist falling into bullying and being bullied, and she's just got this incredible. I love spending time with her. She even gives the best mum hugs. Like,
what a legend.
yeah. So I was finding these women who turned up in my world who weren't defined by their illness, and I think that's the characteristic that stood out for me. Like, there's plenty of people who can talk about being sick and disabled or having some level of disability and the impact that this can have on their life. And it shows up as their identity.
Yes,
I
yes. Now
never
that's a
wanted
key
to
there.
be that person.
Got it.
So I was constantly, I mean, we've got a friend, Rachel, and she
Mm,
was diagnosed with breast cancer, very, very similar to the time I was. Now, she chose a completely different pathway. completely different pathway to me, but we could still have conversations and we could still honor and respect each other and find out what was going on for each other. Or there
Mm.
was never this, oh, you're only drinking water or you're only eating vegetables or
Yeah,
whatever was
yeah,
going
yeah,
on for either of
yeah.
us. So I think
That's
I
the whole
was
point, isn't it?
absolutely, yeah. So there's yeah, it's called personalized medicine, but we will get to that.
We're gonna get to that,
Um,
guys. Just hold on,
yeah.
listeners, we're gonna get there.
Yeah, so I think looking back now, and I'm still very attracted to people who kind of got their own hero's journey around anything to
Mm,
do with like I was really healthy and then I got really sick and this is how I pulled myself out of it. Not because I'm interested in biochemistry so much, but
yeah,
I'm interested in how did you hold yourself and hold your head high on the days when you just wanted to crawl under the doona and hope that no one ever found you.
yeah,
Um, I don't necessarily want to be reinforcing how tired I am all the time because it's easy to do that, or how
yes,
much pain I'm in all the time because it's easy to
yes,
remember that. So I don't tend to hang out or seek out those people who are constantly reinforcing how hard this is.
yes,
So
yes,
it's
good point.
about yeah, it's about
Mm,
it is hard. I don't know. I don't need help remembering that. Sometimes I need help normalizing it,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, 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 and
Mm,
respecting for me, the
yeah.
word respect comes up with this because
Oh,
I think because we
yep.
look amazing, if I say so myself. No,
Mm.
kidding. What it's about is that it's the respect of despite
Oh,
that
yeah.
part of our life that but respecting that, not
Mm,
minimizing it, not pretending it doesn't happen. Because I
mm.
think because you look well, and there are
Oh,
times when we all have the wellness in our
yeah.
lives. Oh, she's great. I have people go, oh my God, thank God, Bron, it's all over. If only you knew. So it so seriously, they say to me, thank God it's all
Mm,
over. And it's like, I wish. Um, And it's that respect of respecting a part of our life, but not
mm,
minimizing it, but not living it as you're talking about, or being or having that identity. Like, I don't have the identity to it. Does it go away? No. Does everyone know? Yes. That was my choice back in the
mm.
day when I shared those reality of cancer posts.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
they came from a space of despite the shit show, because that was
yes,
shit show one.
yeah,
Um, and then it became the shit show too. So I think that's what we're talking about here. And
mm,
you innately looking and finding your people.
mm,
So I know that with the breast cancer, the last thing I wanted to do was hang around with other people with breast cancer because I didn't want to hear their stories. So I'm being really brave this coming week
yeah,
because I'm
yeah.
going to a myeloma meetup group.
Wow.
I haven't been to one before. I'll let you know how I go.
Yeah.
So it's because I don't want to, it's not that I don't want to hear, I don't want to hear the story or the victim or
Mm.
the
Yeah, the
the
victim.
identity of it. I want to hear what
Mm,
you're saying to me, which is you had enough inside you to realize that you wanted to hang around people who
mm.
had, like my favorite saying at the time was, you don't know how strong you are until you have no choice. I'd be, oh my God, Bron, you're so
Mhm.
strong. Like, I didn't know that.
You're
Man, I was
such an inspiration. It's
you're
like,
so
"Oh."
inspiring. It's like, what? No, 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 I'm just hanging out. I'm just doing my thing. So
Yeah,
my
this is
thing here is, and I think this ties in beautifully with where does
mm,
my word serenity, what's throughout
mm,
all of this, Joe?
mm,
We're all talking the same language. We're using different words. So,
mm,
I mean, I'd love to hear
mm,
your take on throughout all of that. And
mm,
I know this
mm,
journey of yours, I hate that word as well. Journey. Do you remember how we hate that
mm.
word?
Yeah,
Can
yeah,
someone come
I
up with
do, but
another
it's
word? Have you
yeah.
got another word?
Please, I don't.
No,
I
neither
just
do I, right?
laugh because I was the anti-journey person
Lifetime,
for a very
chapter. I
long
don't even like
time.
the word
Mm.
chapter. Whatever the word
No.
is, tell me
Yeah.
about how
Mm,
you've found your word. Like,
mm.
what's
So,
your word?
my insert word here is contentment, and
Contentment. I love that.
which I think is followed very, very closely by acceptance. So I'm a fighter and I fight and I'm a strong advocate and I will fight and I can physically fight. Like I've hurt people in the past, not for a very long time. It was when I was a child and didn't know any
Please
better,
tell me
right?
that wasn't like a punch up in the playground.
No. No, but it was flattening somebody on a netball court.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's okay. Is it? But
Yeah.
anyway.
Anywho, yeah, not my best behavior that day. Yes. Anywho, how did we get here? Contentment. Yes. I think we'll get to this as well. Everything around when you get or even a suspicion of the diagnosis of cancer. We've got a great medical system here. It could improve in some ways, but everything just goes fast. Your life stops being your own for as long as treatment's ongoing, and everybody's making decisions on your behalf without including you sometimes. And it took me, I did not like that sense of being out of control and not being included. And it was very difficult for me to just accept that that's all there was, that there was no other way. And me fighting against that used up an incredible amount of energy.
Right.
But it also helped me get the kind of treatment, the medical treatment that I needed, but also the attention to me as a person treatment that I desired, which I thought was a given.
The alternative,
So,
you call it that? Were you told to call it alternative treatment? I still think it's
so
just treatment.
well, yeah,
Alternative.
but I mean, the treatment providers that I initially had access to weren't a great fit for me. Um,
Right. Wow, I'm sorry to hear that.
and yeah, so it was about navigating that, which wasn't pleasant at the time. And I probably came across quite rude and aggressive, but I was being treated really, really poorly. And that
Oh,
was hard. So I think I was always, even as a, like, part of my personality that I've really had to get to know is this desire to keep going, moving forward. What are the next 4 steps? What are the next 7 steps? What's the next 7 years going to look like? What am I going to look like into my 50s? What am I going to look like into my 60s? How do I want to turn up as a grandparent? Cancer interrupted all of that because I never expected to sit on the couch for days on end, crocheting rugs, going, will this ever end? Like so I needed 4 rounds of chemo, which is a really aggressive chemotherapy. Breast
no, it's
cancer
very
chemotherapy is
intensive.
very,
It's
very
we had the
intense and
same,
very
but I had it
aggressive.
spread
Yeah,
out.
yeah. Well, I'm just letting people know that because my husband's had cancer twice and he could work through his chemo. But it took a cancer nurse to sit and go, stop comparing yourself to your husband. The chemo you're having is like the chemo we give people with brain cancer. He had cancer for something that, he probably, we would expect him to still work. I'm like, "Oh, that
And
that
also
was helpful."
there, give yourself the breath to go, "You know
Yeah.
what? Listen to your body." If there's one thing I did not do was listen,
Mm.
and if your
Oh,
body
yeah.
says, "Sit on the couch and crochet," sit on
Mm.
the couch and crochet. I don't know,
Yes,
I think I made
yes.
5 blankets with the chemo prior to the steps. That's why I was laughing because I literally never crocheted in my life. So I'm thinking, right, okay, does anyone else go to crocheting? But
Yep,
I
crocheting
use that
blankets.
energy in a good way.
Yeah, and I was crocheting for an event called Think Outside the Box, which is run by the Creative Fringe here in Penrith. So what I liked about that was I was making blankets for other purposes. It was bigger than myself.
Love
Now,
that.
I think the other context that's important here is that I was diagnosed in the 14th of February 2020, which is when COVID hit Australia.
Yes. Oh, I can't imagine.
Our first diagnosed case of COVID happened on the 25th or the 26th of January that year.
Yep.
You probably don't remember this, but we'd had horrendous bushfires.
I
We'd had
remember.
horrendous flooding. Well, you would. You'd lived all of that. I was waiting for you to float down the river past but the back of my house. Although we live 800 kilometers away
We
from
do,
each
we're a
other
fair
or
bit.
something.
It was rough.
But that COVID situation, I think, really made things rough. So I never expected the cancer to kill me. What I didn't realize until sometime later was that I was terrified that COVID would.
Oh, wow. And to this
Mm.
day for some.
Yes. Yes, because when I first met, here I am sitting. We didn't even have waiting rooms. We were in hallways on chairs a meter apart in a friggin' paper gown that didn't do up at the back, in full view of everybody else who could turn up for work that day, meeting people in what I now consider to be hazmat suits. So there's just all this. Those images are still very, very. They no longer turn up in nightmares for me, but those images
Wow.
are very, very real. Like it was, and so
That's terrible.
that complicated things for me a little bit.
Mm,
well, not a little bit, a lot.
a
Well,
lot.
I can now say we were all learning at that point in time. Like, nobody had lived through a pandemic before.
Mm,
Um, whether we did good or we did bad is kind of irrelevant.
I
We didn't
agree.
really have anything else to learn from, right? We just we were all expected to know what to do. But I can assure you, trying to navigate cancer treatment when you weren't allowed to take people with you into cancer treatment rooms was hideous. Doing everything alone was horrible. Yeah, but that's not the question
You
you
know,
asked.
and I think of those times, and I think, like when we're heading into that pandemic, for
Mm,
people who have a diagnosis of cancer, that's what it feels like.
mm,
You're heading into this
mm,
abyss that there's other
mhm,
people who seem to get it, and you're walking in going, where am I? It's
mm.
like you've been transplanted into this completely different universe and going, well, everyone else seems to be running a normal universe, but where's my universe? What's
Yeah,
going on? So I
yeah.
can't imagine putting the complexity, and I think complexity is a really important word
Mhm.
here because complexity comes in all different shapes and sizes, and yours literally COVID on top of that, and then the fact of not being treated as the way you should be. And I love the
Mm.
fact that you had the strength to speak. And that's what I want to hear about. Tell me about that strength that you have. I mean, we can
Oh,
talk about that
wow.
question if you want, which
Nope, that's okay, we'll go
you want
on.
me to bring
So,
that question
my
in? So, yeah, so I'm going to
well,
say this because this is really important.
yeah,
How much self advocacy was required
yeah,
and
yeah,
how hard was it for you to accept subpar treatment, meaning the way you were treated? So
yeah.
this all
A
feeds in. Tell
lot.
me about.
A lot of self-advocacy, so much more than I ever expected, and I didn't tolerate what I considered to be subpar treatment. Whew. So, as a health professional, I had my own private practice. If I and I had built that from 2009 up until
Yeah.
2024, and we had long-standing relationships with referral partners. We'd been working with some clients all that time, and you don't get to do that unless you're treating people with respect and dignity. So, and
Exactly.
they are the two values in myself and my business that I can't separate myself from. So imagine my surprise turning up to a surgeon. Well, so the first surgeon I went to said, "Oh, you better prepare yourself. This doesn't look good. You've got lumps in both breasts." So this is before lumpectomies. "You've got lumps in both breasts. I think you should prepare yourself for double amputation, mastectomy, double amputation, chemotherapy, radiation. This is probably going to take you a long time." That was my first meeting with her. And I went, far out. Okay. So then you go off and you have more testing done, right? So I went and saw her again. She goes, "Oh, this looks fine.
Oh,
Couple of
wow.
lumpectomies. It will just take the lumps out and you'll be fine." I'm like, who are you? So then,
Mm,
so then I was ready, scheduled to go to hospital. So this was February, March, April. I was scheduled to go to hospital and have these lumps taken out. Now, our hospitals weren't working the way our hospitals were supposed to work. To get lumps taken out, you need to have these things. What are they called? You have to put a piece of metal through you. They have a
yeah,
name.
it's
Hook
the
wires, hook wires, hook wires.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
so
you go and get you actually get the little hook and a wire inserted
yeah,
through into where the tumor is. So when they're doing the surgery, they know exactly
yeah.
where that tumor's lying.
Yeah, so I had 2 tumors that needed to be taken care of, but I ended up with 5 lumps and, um,
Lymph
nodes taken
nodes.
out and stuff, lymph nodes taken out and stuff. So it was across my whole chest. It was pretty. I felt like I was being stabbed, like it wasn't very, very
No,
pleasant.
it's a lengthy experience. It's a lengthy experience to have those put in. Minimum 4 hours to have them put in. This before
Yeah,
surgery.
well, and the hospital. So I had to be at the hospital at 7 a.m. in the morning. I still hadn't been operated on by 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I had the hook wires in since midday, but I had to be my husband had to drive me, not ambulance. My husband had to drive me to a private clinic in Penrith. That's where I am, people. So that someone else who was still working in this space could put the hook wires in. And then he had to drive me back to the hospital in preparation for surgery because COVID. 2 days before that surgery, the first surgeon just disappeared off the face of the planet. Nobody could find her.
What?
She just disappeared. Nobody could. So I get a phone call from another surgeon's receptionist saying, "Oh, Doctor such and such is not operating. You've now been transferred to Doctor such and she'll meet you on the day. You're a simple case. It won't be problematic. Off we go. Cool. So I've been in hospital for a long time. She comes rushing in the afternoon in her hazmat suit. So these are the shields and the, fully covered up,
I
fully gowned up,
remember.
which, yeah, right. And my husband and I were like, oh, crap. And she was just this bundle of nervous energy. And she's like, well, you're not simple. That was her first, something like that was her first words to me. And I'm like, sorry,
Wow.
who are you? I was a bit rude and facetious, like, who the heck are you? So she then
Well,
had to
remembering you
explain who
can't
she
see the
was.
person under all the gear.
No,
You wouldn't
no.
recognise her.
No, and I'd never met her before, remember? Like, this happened 2 days
Mm.
before I was due for surgery.
Mm.
So she then tried to work out, like, she was doing her processing in front of me about what
She
we
was
should do next.
Wow. So she's talking
So
through the processing, and which some people, that's their way of thinking, but from a patient's perspective.
no, because she basically said, oh, you've already got the hook wires in. Oh, and I'm sitting there going, well, can I pull them out? She goes, oh, no, you can't do that. And I'm like, because she was saying maybe we should do the double amputation today or tomorrow, because it was now 5:00 in the afternoon.
Wow.
Or do we just take the lumps out? She asked me to make that she asked me to make
Mm.
that choice that day. And this was my first lesson in going, can we just do what we came here to do, and then we'll work out what we need to do next? Because I was just like,
How do you
number
make
one,
that decision at 5:00? You've
Yeah,
been fasting for how long now? You've already had the wires
yeah.
put in, which is in what's it called? You had the wires put in under,
Oh,
specialist equipment.
anesthetic and yeah, and you're just feeling ick, and I'm already starting to feel icky and like your body's not your own, and you're just a cluster of cells, and people forget your
Yeah,
name and
yeah,
what have you.
yeah.
So that wasn't a great start with her. But we did it, and then following on from that, she was very big on implants. I did not want any more foreign bodies in my body.
Yep.
And she'd given me some literature from her website saying these are the choices that you've got. So I didn't get clear margins, so I needed to have
More surgery.
the more surgery, the double
Mastectomy, yep.
amputation, right? And she just automatically assumed that I would choose her to do that. And I ended up seeing her 3 times, paying for 3 consultations, before she finally heard me say, I am not having implants. So I was a big girl. I was a G cup. I've always been a big girl. I'm not a tiny little, I'm 5'8". I'm a swimmer. I look like I've come from the Nordic clans, right? So there's this lady of probably Malaysian Chinese origin asking me, well, basically going, don't you want perky boobs at the end of this?
No.
Yep. I can remember this. So I just looked at my husband and I
So
said,
you're
we're done
47 at
here.
this age?
Yeah, I was
You've
47
been
and
thrust
I
under a
just,
diagnosis of cancer. You're now being asked if you want, and the thing is, guys, this isn't the choices here isn't what's important here is not what Jo did. What's
mm,
important is the actions, because she listened to her body,
mm,
she listens to her mind, and listened to her heart. And that is why you had the courage to
yep.
go, this is not in alignment. Would that be right?
Absolutely. Well, if I was so when she said that to me, I pretty much shut up and just looked at my husband, John, and went, oh, we leave now. Like, I didn't even look at her again. It's like, we just leave now. So it was quite clear to me. I was not letting a person who treated me and had the nerve to say that to me after meeting me for so many times and me spending so much money and taxpayers' money on, because she was trying to change my mind. Like, she was, because I was like, I'm going to go flat, or I'll have this thing called a DIEP
Yep.
reconstruction, right?
Yep.
She gave me those choices. These are all the choices that you can have. Now, little did I know, she didn't know how to do the DIEP surgery.
No, it's a very specialized surgery. It's
Yeah, but
plastic
she still
surgeon,
gave me,
actually.
yeah, reconstructive plastic. It's a big deal.
It's a
So
very
I'm
big
like,
deal.
okay. So when she said, well, I don't know how to do this, I went, well, fine. I will find someone who can. So I was like, I don't need you anymore. I don't want to have anything to do with you anymore. I don't want to talk to you anymore.
Um,
I refused to
Wow.
let people send her medical information. It's like she's not a part of my medical team. And that was purely because there was such a level of refusing to meet me where I was at. There was no co-working on this together. There was no
Mm.
sense of this is Joe's body and I'm trying to make Joe feel good about this horrible situation. It was, I'm the expert. I know what I'm doing. I will tell you what to do and you will do it because of who I am.
Wow.
And
And can we just hit pause there? Because what Joe just said is one of the most important parts of dealing with any adversity, but in our
Mm,
case, cancer, is understanding that you do not have to say yes to anything
no,
ever. And you
no,
and the subsequent surprise because you are defying, no, when that's not the right word. When you are saying to somebody that I'm going to go and find another way,
yeah,
and that's what I think is the most important part here, Joe, is the fact that you sat there and you had enough strength within your own heart to go, this doesn't feel right.
mm,
This is not right for me.
mm,
And I feel that that's so important that people can stop enough to go,
yes,
what's right for me?
yeah.
And if you
We
don't have the answer, don't make the decision.
and it's not that you don't sit around in your 30s going, so if I ever get breast cancer, it's not like a birth plan, right? Yeah. Which
But we
birth
are
plans rarely
medical.
go to plan anyway. Like,
I agree that, I feel that, with our backgrounds, we had the knowledge, right? There are so many of our
yes.
listeners who may not have that knowledge. It's not about the knowledge because you might know
No.
it, but until it's you,
Yeah.
it's, I don't know how many hundreds, if not thousands of people I've been present when they've been told, Bron,
Mm,
and they've been told they have cancer.
mm.
And I had no concept, hence Serenity Project, because I had no
Yeah.
concept and I'm wanting to create that space. So that's why I'm so excited to hear your take
Mm,
on being able to have that strength. And
yeah.
what did you say? What did you call it again? Contentment?
Yeah. Contentment and acceptance.
Acceptance,
Yeah.
right? So when we say acceptance, it's not accepting of others. It's actually acceptance of
No.
yourself and your values and beliefs and what's right for your body. So tell me, when you use the word acceptance, it
Hmm.
wasn't really acceptance of whatever was thrown at you. It was more about acceptance of what's inside coming out. Would that be right?
Uh, oh, absolutely. So it's acceptance of me, of knowing what I want, acceptance that what I want is legitimate and worthwhile. Accept I had to accept that the medical system is limited. Like when you're being treated with cancer, it's not about treatment outcomes; it's about percentages,
Mm.
right? So everybody isn't
We
there.
won't go
Yeah,
there
it's
yet, but yes.
yeah.
From
but
my background, I know exactly what's going on there,
Yeah.
but we won't go there.
Um, acceptance for me was accepting that, oh, the days I had to accept, shit, this, sorry, excuse my language, but this is making me really sick. But I'm allowed to be really sick and I'm also allowed to ask for help, which was not easy.
Yeah.
Acceptance was, wow, and in 2020, we did not have the cancer care resources in the greater west of Sydney that we now do. But wow, I can get myself into the city of Sydney and I can access the type of treatment and support that I want there because I'm lucky enough to be able to do that. I accept that. Um, accept it. So for me, I'm 5 years on. I remain cancer free, but there are implications from the treatment. So I now live with chronic uncontrolled migraine as a reaction to one of the cancer drugs.
Wow. And I know
Uh,
how much that impacts your life.
Well, like 15 migraine days a month. And anyone who's had the COVID headache or any sense of migraine, that's a lot. And 15 is a reduction from 24. So, but I still don't feel lucky to get 15. Um, and it's only this year that I've gone, because I've been living in this kind of holding space of waiting for the migraines to go away, waiting for them to go away, waiting for them to go away. I take a lot of medication, a lot of supplements. I my sold my business. I'm trying to work out if I want to work for the rest of my life. But the question that I was able to ask myself with contentment and full acceptance only this year was, how do I want to be? Not who do I want to be? How do I want to be while we're waiting for the migraines to sort themselves out? And since I've been able to ask that question, like my physiology changes. I have, there's no apologetics in me anymore. Like if I had to cancel today, like I'd be like, oh, Bron will understand. I was like, Bron, I'm really unwell. You don't want me on your podcast today. And you'd go, not a problem, chickie,
Wait,
because that's what your language you would use. we'll
I
we'll
would.
just make another time. Yeah. So I've become much more comfortable in so I have a couple of people that I still, I love supervision. So, but those people know that if I have to cancel on that day, because I hate being unreliable, but it's like, I don't want to take your money if I can't deliver what you need today. I would rather cancel and reschedule. So if people want to work with me and they can't handle that, then I'm not the right person. So that for me
Wow.
creates my contentment, because it's like I don't have to worry if I'm offending or upsetting or letting people down anymore. But it's also
Mm.
the acceptance that at this point in my life, I have this new thing or this ongoing thing that came out of the cancer treatment, which is chronic uncontrolled migraine, that despite Western medicine's best efforts and despite the functional medicine doctors that I'm working with, we haven't got the cure for yet. Okay, I now know I don't go out at night. I can't drive at night. When I go to my church, I have to wear hearing protection and sunglasses. Like there are just things that I'm accepting now. Like
Oh, I'm
this is,
hearing the serenity prayer. God grant
yeah.
you the
Oh,
serenity to accept what you cannot change, the courage to change the
courage
things you can, and the
and the
wisdom to know the
wisdom.
difference. And I feel that
Absolutely.
I want to hear more about where in this did
Mhm.
you land? So in my world, I call them the serenity moments. It's not like you're in serenity
Mm,
the whole time, let me assure you.
no.
It's chaos, but
Yeah.
it's finding calm, and it's the calm, the snippets. To me, they're those serenity now moments.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where did you realize, because I've known about these migraines and I've
Mm.
seen you firsthand. Where
Oh,
did you
wow.
make
So,
peace with yourself?
yeah. God, so interestingly enough, so coming out of my cancer treatment, I ended up with this thing called medical trauma, right? Which is how I can,
Haven't we all?
it's a real thing. It's a real diagnosis. And I've been working with this wonderful clinical psychologist to help me understand it. And that's how I worked out that I didn't think cancer was going to kill me, but COVID was. It took some EMDR work to actually bring that to the surface of what was going on. So it's interesting for me that some of these serenity moments for me turned up by other medical professionals, because I became so distrustful of medical professionals. I would have panic every time I'd have to go, and like I couldn't walk into the cancer center at Penrith. We had to do some desensitization there. Going into RPA, which is a different hospital, it was like I would freak out. I'd get my son, because he lived in the city at the time. It's like, man, I need you to come and sit in the waiting room because the doctor's running late. Like it was really hard. And
So
it's
what's the
interesting. I'm
formal
sitting here,
diagnosis called again?
medical
Uh,
trauma.
medical trauma.
It's a real thing.
Oh,
It's a
I
real
know.
thing. And it gets treated similar to PTSD, and you can recover from it. I'm living proof you can recover from it. I don't have the intrusive memories. I don't have the nightmares. I can go and get treatment now without having a panic attack. It's awesome.
I love
Okay.
that. Thank you for sharing that, because I know the work that is required. So if
Hmm.
someone is experiencing that,
Yeah.
we are encouraging our
Oh,
listener
get
to
get
please
get
go get
help.
some help. It
Get
is
help.
real. Don't
Yeah.
minimize it. It's absolutely
No,
real.
no. So that first turned up for me after all of my cancer treatment. It was in the beginning stages of 2022. So I'd had 4 major surgeries. I'd been through chemo, bleh, and it was like I was being discharged because I refused to go on tamoxifen or
Well, you couldn't. Let's be honest.
well, I
There's a whole
couldn't. I
nother
had
story there,
a
people,
or
but you
any of
couldn't.
those any of those drugs that they recommend you go on for 5 years. I decided I wasn't going to do that. Again, I had to go and see the oncologist 4 or 5 times before she agreed with that. Well, she never agreed with it. I had to sign a waiver. But anywho, but these medical people turned up in my life. So the first person that turned up in my life that gave me some serenity moment was the reconstructive surgeon. A man, which I wasn't expecting from. I used to walk around with this giant lever arch file because it's amazing how your medical records don't go with you even in the same hospital. So I was constantly taking my medical records with me just in case the person in front of me didn't have access to all the information. That got me labeled as highly anxious and litigious.
Okay.
Thanks for that. But he when I
And
went and
all
saw
you're
this
doing
place.
is self-advocacy, people, just putting it out
Correct.
there. It's called
Yep.
self-advocacy, and
Yep.
whether the system agrees with you or not, it's your body, and it's not that you're defying anybody, you're just asking questions. That's my
Correct. And
take on it, Jo.
I'm like, "You're a doctor. I'm not convinced that you'll have access to all the information that you would need to make an informed decision about my care. Is there anything that you would like to know? Because I've brought all my records with me." So I met this guy's name's Joe Dusseldorp. He was the reconstructive surgeon, and he looked at me and he said, "You can put that away. I've read your entire file." I went, "You've what?" He goes, "I've read your entire file. I know what's going on. I just want to know why you want to have this particular." So this is the guy who did the DIEP surgery for me.
Yeah, I
"I
understand.
want to know
Mm.
why you want to have this surgery, and I just want to make sure that it's a good idea for us to work together." And I'm like, "Wait, what?"
I
So
love
so
mm.
all this tension and hypervigilance just went out of me. Um, and he said the reason that he loves doing reconstructive surgery is because he gave a woman her smile back after a facial injury from a motor vehicle accident. And I'm like, "You're the guy for me."
You're my kind.
Yeah. So that has stuck with me. The breast surgeon. So these guys had to work in tandem. So I decided
Mm.
I needed to get it all done at once. I won't ever do that again. So it was a 12-hour surgery.
So just to put it out there, guys, what happens is that Jo needed to have the mastectomy
Mm,
by the breast surgeon, and
yeah,
then the plastic surgeon comes in and does the deep reconstruction. So I know we're talking medical here, and I know that this is not a medical show, but we just
yeah.
need you to understand the context of why Jo's saying what she's saying.
Thank you. So then the surgeon who did so this is how we relive these experiences, right?
Yeah,
Bron
that's
could
right.
actually see me starting to escalate. My breathing was getting rapid, and that was a great way of Bron being able to show people, well, explain to people what I was talking about, but also give me a moment to calm down and recenter. So thank you,
Mm,
Bron.
my pleasure.
So the breast surgeon, Sanjay Warrior from the Chris O'Brien Centre, looked at me and he said, "One day, Jo, we will look back at the way women with breast cancer have been treated, and we will ask ourselves how we could be so barbaric."
Yes.
And I went, "Oh my God, I think I fell in love."
But here's you got my take on this whole medical health
Mm,
system. We all are part of the food chain. I used to say it when I
yeah.
was teaching at uni, and I teach these the up and coming RNs, and I'd be going, we're part of a food chain's the wrong word, but we're part of a
Mm,
system, and we
mm,
cannot function without the cleaner. The
mhm,
surgeon cannot do their job without the cleaner, or the person in
mhm.
the cafeteria who's feeding the staff so that they can do their jobs.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I love the fact that we have this amazing human at Chris O'Brien who
Mm,
understands, because that means they're part of the future, because they're looking
abs
to how
absolutely.
can we improve, which is where
Yeah.
you and I both in this, I believe the same.
Yeah, and it was just one of those moments, those serenity moments that broke through all of my anxiety and hypervigilance and fears and, "Oh my God, I'm gonna be," because at that point in time, I was having really intrusive thoughts about people coming at me with knives and sharp
Oh,
implements,
Joe, my skin is
right?
crawling. Oh,
Which was
wow.
very, very real. What was very real for me. I was too scared to go to sleep because this stuff was going on. I used to pray that I could have more surgery because then I could get to sleep. That's when you know
Joe.
things aren't real good. So these medical people have continued to turn up for me. There was an event not long after. So I was a big speaker, like you were
I
or are,
remember.
And
I
as soon as
remember.
somebody said, "Jo, we've got a breast cancer awareness thing. We'd like you to come and speak on breast cancer and mental health." And I went, "Sure, not a problem." Oh, it was my first October. My first October after all of this. And now Bron's laughing because she knows what's about to happen. So I'm there at the front of the room helping these people raise heaps of funds for the McGrath Foundation Breast Care Nurses, which is incredible that we've got this resource.
Yes.
And I started to speak and I looked out and all I could see was this friggin' pink. And I just went in, I just shut down. I just completely shut down. And one of those nurses came over and she took me by the hand and she went, "You know what? This happens to most breast cancer survivors." So I'm now anti-pink come October.
I'm only wearing pink is my favorite color.
Absolutely, but
But do
but
I
that's also
speak anymore? No, I don't speak anymore.
yeah, but I don't like for me, I just know October is going to be a lot of pink. It's going to be a lot of talk about mammograms. It's going to be a lot of hit and miss stuff, but it's not talking to me. It's not talking to me as a thriving person. So I can protect myself, right? I can protect myself. I usually am very, very low on my social media output. I don't go to any of these pink up events anymore because it's too hard. And my acceptance of myself is I don't have to do that anymore. There are
Can you,
other people who are ready to do that, and I don't have to do it. I just don't have to,
you
and
don't,
that's
and can
okay.
you hear, guys? What's the most powerful thing going on is that Jo has
Mm,
has the awareness in herself to understand her own contentment
mm,
and acceptance, and absolutely know 100% that is right for you. So I want
mhm.
to congratulate you and honor you, Jo, because it's nearly October, and when this
Yeah,
comes out, it'll be past October. But the fact that we know that Jo has been an advocate and found her serenity, her contentment, which was
mm.
absolutely right for you.
Yeah,
Because
and
someone else out there will go, wow, I was the ambassador. I've done, and which I love. I've had my turn,
mm,
and would I speak again? I can do that, but that's because although my memory, chances are, like what happened to my talking on stage in America, had to wear my
mhm,
glasses with A4 pieces of paper because I couldn't remember because my memory's gone.
mm.
So I applaud you, Jo, and go, wow, I want to be like Jo because Jo has found her space. And I cannot
Yeah, well,
express that
thanks.
enough, Jo, that is the most important thing because that is wellness.
Yes, and you know what? I could talk about the fact that the cancer, which caused the migraines, took away my career, but I am now in a place where I go, I am so lucky that I had somebody offer to buy my business at a point in time when I had gone through all my treatment. I had been able to support my team and my clients and my customers all through that, but I was able to make a choice. It wasn't ripped out from under me and we weren't getting APRA, you know, you're wrong, you're bad, you're awful, here's lots of litigation. It was me
Yes.
going, I actually don't want to keep doing this.
I'm ready. I remember
And
you going on your sabbatical,
yes,
and it was a sabbatical, and again, the strength here. So
yeah.
you were talking before we hit record around your 10 spoons. Tell me about your 10 spoons.
Okay, so there's a concept in the world called the spoonie culture. So these are people who are living with chronic conditions, and we basically have it's a way of thinking about units of energy. So if you think about units of energy, like you have 10 spoons you can spend a day. Now, some days you will use all 10 spoons having a shower. Some days you might use a spoon having a shower. So it's not like this is a static, written in stone thing. But I know on days that I have a migraine, if I wake up in migraine pain, I've already used up 7 or 8 spoons. So if
Yeah.
I've only got 2 spoons to use for the rest of the day, where am I going to direct that energy? Well, I can assure you my husband gets as much of that as possible. And sometimes that might mean not cooking or not cleaning or leaving the bed unmade or my beautiful puppy Smudge doesn't get a walk that day. It might mean that all my piles of stuff are still around the house. Now, we've had to do some work on our relationship because my standards have changed. But if he knows that I've got a migraine and only got 2 spoons left, he wants to have a conversation with me. That is the most important thing that we can do. So I was talking with a girlfriend yesterday and we were talking about our spoons for the day. And I said, I'm actually currently sitting on my lounge at 8:30 in the morning with a cup of coffee. My dog's on my lap. I'm under my comfy blanket um,
I hope it's
because
the
I'm
one that
about,
you crocheted.
no, it's not, but it was a gift. So many people gifted me blankets. It wasn't funny. Um, and I said, because I'm about to do math to work out how many spoons I've got left to spend, and I already know that that's going to take 2 spoons. And she was like, I get it. The math requires this. It takes the spoons as well. So whether it's 10 spoons, it's just, you can look it up. Spoonie culture. What does it mean about spoons? But it's about recognizing that we don't have infinite energy. All of you lovely NLP practitioners and spiritual people who say that we have access to infinite energy, you're wrong.
We
You've
don't.
had this.
You wouldn't, and that's the thing. I remember at one stage, I love books, right? So I've got
Mhm.
this massive bookshelf full of the most beautiful, amazing books that I have collected over the last 30 years. And then when the diagnosis came and I started to pick up these books, right, and I'd start reading, I go, but this is not relevant to me.
Mhm.
This is not relevant to me. And they are wonderful things, but they're no longer relevant to me because,
Mhm.
you know, setting a 5-year goal, even writing in pencil,
Yes, writing in pencil, that's one of my
uh,
big things.
uses a lot of spoons, and chances are it's going to change a shit ton before
Yeah,
we even get
yeah,
to
and
the 6-month mark, let alone the 5.
exa
It's not that I don't have it, guys, but God grant me serenity to accept what I cannot
yeah.
change. I look at those things differently. So energy, right? So people talk about
Mhm.
living life full out. Guess what? Living life full out on one day might be a 2-spoon day. That
Mhm.
is amazing that you have the awareness to go, we're on 2 spoons today.
Mm.
Joe's on the lounge, I'm on the lounge. We are sweet. And I have lived full out.
Yeah.
That's where we
Yes.
find the moments, you know? So I love that analogy.
Yeah. Getting rid of
Now,
the
yeah.
guilt. Getting rid of the guilt has been a huge thing, and letting go of the guilt, like, I'm not productive. Like,
What did you
I'm
can
not
I ask how that
mm,
happened? Like, because again, we're not putting to-do lists together for people, right?
oh,
I'm not
no.
into to-do lists like that. But where did that awareness come that you went,
Oh,
you know what?
it
Because I'm not guilt. I have lost it. Y-
yes, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
"Wow, okay." So I don't it doesn't happen in isolation, it happens in relationship, and you've gotta I
Yeah.
think for me, I needed people who were constantly reinforcing. So my husband would come home and go, "Oh my god, you're on the lounge watching TV. This is awesome." Right, he was constantly reaffirming this, and going, because I would apologize, "I haven't made the bed, let me go make the bed." He goes, "Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it." He would gently ask questions like, "Do you think you're up for cooking dinner tonight? Because if not, I'll do it. I'll do it." So I have nothing to be, there's no need to be guilty. My son was awesome at this, right? And he still is. Like, if we've got an event, like we've organized to catch up with each other, are you well enough for this today, Mum? Because
Wow.
you probably won't tell me unless I ask. And he's right, I wouldn't. A chance to see my son? Hell no. I will use up 20 spoons to see that happen. I'll use 2 days worth of spoons
Yeah,
to
yeah,
see that
yeah.
happen.
But
But
it's the
he
conscious decision, though. You see,
correct.
it's the
Yes.
conscious awareness to go, it's a 20-spoon day, and I am
Yeah.
so happy about that. It's like when when people talk about, oh, I can't eat the cake. The thing
Oh,
is,
I eat
right,
anything now.
you want to eat the
It
cake, have the cake, and go, you know what? I'm going to love every single mouthful. You just don't have
yes.
to eat it every day or every meal, quite
Yeah,
frankly.
absolutely, and that's one of the things the best advice I got during chemo was, "If you feel this sick, just eat. Regardless of what it is, you've just gotta get some level of nutrient in." So, and since then, I don't have any good foods or bad foods. I have food that makes me feel better or food that makes me feel off, so I can again make an intentional, conscious decision about whether or not I'm gonna eat that, but chemo gave me freedom over food. So
So
it was,
that's what we're talking about, guys. It's the freedom over making the decision that is right for you, for your head, your heart, your soul.
yeah.
It's making that decision. And that's why that even though you're living with a chronic, I don't know
Mm.
what they call it. What are you going to, is it, is it
It's a neurological condition without a cure.
great? My
Thanks, people.
specialist tried to tell me in February, Bron, that myeloma is now called a chronic condition without a cure. What the hell? Okay. Knock
Yeah.
yourself out with that. I don't know who you're trying to make feel better. Not her. She's amazing. This is a professor I found in Melbourne. She's just like the bee's
Mm-mm.
knees. But I think it's more about living full out with your spoons.
Yep.
And Jo, living full out could be a one spoon day. And I'm just so grateful you're here today. So thank you. So if there's one piece of advice you'd be like, I always say the old Bron, and I don't know if that isn't, the coaches around would probably tell me, Bron, we can't talk like that. But if you could go back, what would be one piece of advice, or what's something
Mm.
that you wished you'd known, or
Oh,
part of life? Like, what would you say?
slow down and force everyone around you to slow down with you. So that might mean something like, if I don't make this decision today, what are the implications for me? Not for you, Mrs. Health Professional stuck in a system. Am I going to die tomorrow? Because chances are you're not. Right? Now,
Yes.
I get that there are
Look,
some people, yeah, but
I couldn't agree. Like whether it's not about the prognosis,
mm,
it's not about the length of life. It's not. Look, I'm allowed to say that
mhm,
because I was given a prognosis, right? I
mm,
was. So I'm allowed to say that what we're talking about here is, I would 100% agree. I allowed the system to dictate to me how, because I was so scared. I was in free fall. I couldn't
mm,
speak both
mm,
times.
mm,
All I prayed for was time,
mm.
because it was
Yes.
3 weeks between with the biopsy for the bone marrow biopsy and official diagnosis, which my specialist had, but I didn't realize that.
Mm,
I just prayed for time. And if there's one lesson I've learned from you, Jo, is
mm,
exactly that it's
mm,
my show.
mm. Yeah.
And whether we get controversy over this conversation, I am all for it. Let's have a discussion. Let's not have a free-for-all around slow it down.
Yeah,
It's
and
not
I
going to
think
change the outcome a week, 2 weeks, 4 weeks.
no,
Look, with caveat there, please listen
yes,
to your health professionals. Please listen to your team. They are the ones there telling you these information, but please have enough space. Call it
yes,
space rather than time.
time,
Space.
space. Yeah, and you need to have information presented to you in a way that you can understand. So here is Jo with a diagnosis of bilateral breast cancer, sitting in front of the clinical nurse consultant who has a whole 20 minutes to talk to her about all the things that might and could and possibly going to go on. So this woman is talking really, really fast and throwing pieces of paper at me and getting resources for me and throwing more resources for me and going, now you need to sign here saying I have taken you through this information. How ridiculous. That 20 minutes would have been better served by that woman going, Jo, this is a really, really difficult time for you. You've got me for the next 20 minutes. What questions do you have?
I love that. Well, how do we, one person at a time, how do we help the system? Because it's not the people in the system's fault, guys. It's not the system. The system is
No.
fundamentally flawed. I'm allowed to say it. I've worked in it for 30 years. You've worked in it for 30 years.
Yeah, and
It's
it's
not,
not the people are doing the best they can with what they know. I think it's I honestly think it's conversations like this that the people who hear this today, there might be one or two of them over the country who go into their next medical appointment and go, no, 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 I'm not making a decision today. I'll come back and see you next week. So I think it's because I've noticed in the 5 years that I've been doing this, trauma-informed questioning is turning up more and more and more. That was not a thing in the beginning for me. Quite obviously, I did not want perky boobs, but if that doctor was trauma-informed, she would never, ever, ever have said that to me. But I can now walk into, RPA is a great example when I go in and have the scan where they stick nuclear medicine in you and there's PET scan. There we go. And there was this gorgeous man. He was a registrar. So they're still learning. And he came in and he was ready to ask me a really awkward question. And he started and then he stopped. And he said, "Have you had treatment at another hospital?" And I said, "That was a great way to ask that question because your medical records are incomplete, aren't they?" And he went, "Oh." And I said, "Yes, I have. It's Nepean Hospital. Do you need to know who to contact? What's missing from your medical records? Could I help?" He goes, "No, it was just me not understanding your history." So he could have come in and been very bombastic, like your medical records. What he wanted to say was, "Your medical records are incomplete. What's going on with you?" To which I would have gone, "Who are you? And why are you talking to me like that?" But he stopped himself before that came out of his mouth and went, "Have you been treated elsewhere?" So it is, I want to give people hope it is changing. But if we as patients continue to tolerate poor treatment, like the poor respect or disrespect, if we tolerate disrespect, if we tolerate being treated in an undignified way, then the medical professionals that we are in touch with have no way of learning. And I can assure you, because I've done it, I stuck my hand up in a stop sign to a reconstructive registrar who turned up beside my bed, didn't introduce herself, didn't talk to me about herself. I was naked under this gown and she picked up the gown to have an look underneath it without introducing herself.
Wow.
So my hand went up to a stop sign. I put the gown down. I went, "Excuse me, who are you? These ladies were in front of you asking questions. If you've got questions, you can join this conversation, but you don't get to pick up my gown."
Let's all be like Jo. Be like Jo. I love that. And the thing is, guys, this self-advocacy, which is what this entire conversation is about, is all coming from a place that Jo understands her own contentment, understands contentment, and you're thinking, where's the contentment in that situation? It's there. It's chaotic. It's not what you think contentment looks like, which is sitting out the front with a coffee. But in Jo's world, she's 100% in her space. Full fucking stop.
Yeah, I have had my body out for people to poke, prod, see, view, photograph. I give you permission when that's happening. You do not assume you have it.
Wow. So that's your one point.
Yeah. That's
Be
my
like
one
Jo.
point.
So that's, guys, listeners, that's the thing.
Well,
is in all
I'm a bit,
seriousness. In all
Thank you, Bron.
seriousness, I cannot verbalize the strength of what that does to your wellness, to your well-being. It's not fighting the system, guys. It's asking for a pause and it's asking for respect. Would you agree?
Absolutely. And you can, respect can turn up in lots of different ways. So for me, I've been like, "Could you please not have that conversation near my bed because you're talking about another patient? I don't want to hear about it." Right. Respect is, also I've written to a creator, one of the manufacturers of one of the medications that I have to take when I'm in a migraine attack, going, "Could you please create packaging that someone who is using this during a migraine attack can open?"
I love that.
It's like,
You know,
I can't
and
open
you know what, though? Don't ever think that you're one voice, because guess what? If we join my voice and Jo's voice and your voice and other listeners' voices together, that self-advocacy and respectful collaboration over your body
Mm. Ooh.
is the top of the tree.
Yep. Sorry, Smudge is agreeing with you.
I just heard him. I did. So last question, where can people find you? How would you like, because obviously there's going to be some conversations to be had. Please In the speaker notes below, you'll see a link for fan list. It's called fan list, and you can leave a
Mm.
voice message for Jo.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, I'm using
That's
fan
cool.
list because I want to hear people's voices. I want to hear
Yeah, I
you
love it.
speak. I want to hear
Yeah.
how you're feeling. But more importantly, Jo, how can people contact you?
So if you'd like, I actually did a video diary of my beginnings, like when I was first diagnosed, right through until about 2 years, 2 or 3 after my treatment. So you can find that on YouTube. It's out there for everybody to see. It's called Breast Cancer and Me with Jo Muirhead, because there's a gazillion of us who have got.
I will put the link. I'll put the
Yep.
link down there in the
Yep.
speaker notes too.
I don't have a breast cancer forum specifically, but I am on Instagram, Jo Muirhead. I am on Facebook, Jo Muirhead. I'm also on LinkedIn. You probably don't want to have this discussion on LinkedIn, but you can find me over there as well. So they're probably the best places to, if you want some connection or you've got something specific you want to ask me that you don't want to do publicly. Otherwise, use that piece of software that Bron was just talking about, and I can come back to
We
you
can
that
get
way.
that to you. Well, Jo,
Yeah.
thank you for
My
today.
pleasure.
And I just want to thank you for being part of the Serenity Rising podcast, but more importantly, the Serenity Project community and the bigger
Mm,
play that we have in Spacey. Because now, for those who are listening, you're now hearing where we're going,
yeah,
which is to make change. This is not this.
absolutely.
We want to make some change here for the patients, for the people. We need to do it all together. So thank you guys, and really appreciate your time, Jo. And we'll see
Oh,
you
thank you,
all
Bron.
on the next episode. Thank you so much for joining me today. It's been great having you here. And what I would love you to do is leave a comment or ask a question using my fan link below this episode and on every episode that we post. I would love to hear your thoughts, your questions, and I'll get back to you. Have a great day and bye for now.